impolite Chinese. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I would like to start with a survey. What you are feeling about Chinese, except they are good at maths? Anything? Any impression of Chinese? Been polite, been rude, been anything?
Fast.
You have been really polite. Okay.
Inscrutable.
I'm very grateful that this English culture of equality, diversity and inclusion, where various voices are encouraged by minorities. You might have heard of black people protesting on the street, or Muslims celebrating their traditional ceremonies. But have you ever seen, ever imagined a Chinese people standing up and claim, Chinese lives matter? Am I the only one? I think Chinese people in this community are generally quiet, well-behaved, and polite. Well, I think Chinese voice are not held enough. Of course, a small population base compared to Indian and Pakistanis is a very important factor. And for some Chinese people, language barriers can be another reason. But what I think is the basic, vital, fundamental reason is rooted in Chinese culture itself. Over 2,500 years ago, there were different schools of teaching in China. And gradually, Confucianism became dominant. The hierarchy system that Confucius has designed for the governors defined the positions and the expectations of people on what they do and what they say. So, yeah, I think over there in the emperor of Han Dynasty has deployed this nationwide, and this adapted Confucianism teaching actually defines people, keep them in line to act everything within the rules set by the governors. And these rules definitely discourage speaking up. Instead, it emphasizes on obedient behaviors. So today I'm going to try to explain the three major aspects which I think are responsible for affecting Chinese people speaking up. And they're all from the Analects by Confucius. And these three aspects are, firstly, be cautious. Secondly, take action over speaking. And thirdly, self-reflect. So can you just pass down, because they will be in Chinese. So there will be some explanation over there. Okay, I'm going to have my own version as well. So the first one, be cautious. There are lots of scripts in the Analects talking about telling us how to observe, think over, and self-develop. And there are very typical saying, which is the first one over here. It's called 三思而后行, which means that you think 3 times before you actually take any action. Okay, which is originally a suggestion from Confucius to one of his disciples, who was always prone to rushing to things, which is a perfect advice to him in particular, and also in a lot of, very true in a lot of situations. So people gradually just take this, generalize it in all aspects of life. Well, if you want to keep the balance of harmony in the community, which is what Chinese culture encourages, it's perfect to take time in weighing the interest between all the stakeholders. But if it goes too far, then it just causes a lot of overthinking and miss the best time to speak up. And secondly, is to take action over speaking, which is second saying, 乐于言而敏于行. Again, this one is very good teaching if you want to become a human excellence. We are expected to show your ability by doing and achieving rather than bragging about your plans. Perfect in realizing one's life. But again, if you go too far, it can emphasize only on not talking, which is not what Confucius meant to say. But my experience in China is people who are clumsy in speaking, that look more favor over those who enjoys debating like me. Okay. So silent men are seen as perfect, reliable. And that's how my husband actually gained the support from my parents in the first impression, even before knowing that he's good at taking action or not. Just being very clumsy in his speech already is a veteran in my mom's eyes. And thirdly, self-reflect. 吾日三省吾身. That just means, well, I got different explanation on that. One is you self-reflect 3 times. Another explanation is you self-check on 3 things every day. One is loyalty, another one is be reliable, and third one is personal development. So when we're students, we're given a lot of example in the school of the historical figures that they are succeed eventually after repetitive, constant self-discipline and self-reflection. So we were ashamed of being proud of ourselves. If we have the feeling of feeling proud, we'd hide it from the teachers and then parents just to avoid punishment. So Chinese people, me for example, we tend to have a habit trying to make sure that there's no obvious holes in what we want to say before we're actually deciding to speak up. Okay, so when it goes too far, it can become a self-criticism, which is no good. As you can see, Chinese people, we trying to present ourselves as respectful, wise, educated, and polite. So if you ever seen a Chinese person listening attentively, but slow in responding in words, that may be because they're holding back themselves subconsciously. Or they're probably double checking the logic of what they plan to say. Okay, to sum up, there's three things I talked about which might affect Chinese people's willingness of speaking up from Chinese tradition. First one, be cautious. Second one, taking actions over speaking. And third one, self-reflection. But just one message to my folkmen. We don't have to be 100% right before we raise our hands up. Thank you.